I got people around me without even knowing. Y'all caught different chances that they wasn't sure. People that stand you in your back and smile in your face. People that act how they act, but they want your space. Say that it's love at their mouth, but they really hate. Swab it, looking for peace, they begging for space.
I got people around me without even knowing. People will stab you in your back and smile in your face. People will act like they act, but really want your space. Lying out their mouth, but they really hate. Was Foolio in prophetic mode? Was he in prophetic mode, y'all? Remember, gifts of the Spirit, everybody. The gifts of the Spirit, they come without repentance. So he could have been doing all that and still had a prophetic gift and just wasn't walking in his mantle and using it the way the Most High intended for him to use it. Many people spoke on their demise. A lot of people spoke on their demise and didn't even know it. Remember what Takeoff said in the song Nothing Changed?
They don't know that this shit real. That's how you end up getting blown out your brains.
And he left that same way a month later. Well, like a month and a half later. Foolio said, I got people around me without even knowing. Which coincides with what some of the public is saying regarding their feelings that someone in the crew or entourage dropped his location, serving him up on a platter to those who took him out. He said, people will stab you in your back and smile in your face. That would be him celebrate the birthday weekend, not knowing that someone in the crew had accepted a payment to hand him over, serving him up on a platter to the killers. That's one lineage, theoretical lineage that's out there online amongst the fans, amongst the neutrals also. The celebrators are on something else. From the song clip from our opening here, he said people around him without even knowing. That could have went two ways. Remember in the clip, he was drinking and he said, I don't even drink. When you're a drink, you are sitting there becoming dazed because you are imbibing and taking in spirits. Once those spirits are in your body, you are under a different type of influence. That's why they call it being under the influence. You are under the influence of spirits. You are under the influence of spirits. You are under the influence of spirits. People around him without even knowing if he got drunk that night. Whoever got him drunk that night. And he's not even a drinker. A lot of Geminis are not. They are... We'll talk about that later, but a lot of Geminis got such a high energy. They own one. They don't even get drunk. They get drunk for what? Tupac, Azalea Banks, Donald Trump, Kanye West. These are all Geminis while sober. You see what time they're on. Imagine these people drunk. Oh, gosh. We'll talk about the zodiacs later. But going back to what we were saying, having people around him without even knowing. Prophetic again. The night he went out, he was randomly just inviting people from the public. Just DM me, we'll go ahead on and get you in. People around me without even knowing. It's like that clip from the interrogation room. It's like, oh man, what's going on? It's feeling so prophetic. And then it coincides with what the public's thinking that a girl in the group did it. Possibly. Who knows? From the opening song, he was at this who can you trust phase in his life is what it was giving up. So openly and just inviting the public openly to just come over and vibe out the blue. That's wild. Any of them chicks could have been just a old sweet face, fine ass chick of an up. Who, just was like, oh, I want to come turn up. And just texting locations all night. To a boo. The real person who wants you. The online girl who invited him to the club, and then they actually pulled up. Had a good time. They've been bashing her. This girl has been under an ambush online. being accused of setting them up. But no one touched him at the club, though. Guys, think about it. Nobody touched him at the club. And then think about it. In front of all those people, clubs do get shot up, but it ain't happened. It ain't happened there. These folks waited until later, approaching him around dawn. Close to dawn at 4:40 a.m. I saw a commenter say, he wasn't in Jacksonville, so how was they able to get him in Tampa? All right, for that commenter, they got him in Texas before. They forget going up or shooting across I-4 from Jacksonville, or shooting from Jacksonville to Tampa, ride from Jacksonville down towards Orlando, and Orlando to Tampa, 3-hour shoot. They whoever wanted him was so determined, they went all the way over to Texas. So getting them in another city clearly is not a barrier. That's not a constraint for whoever was after this guy. And some say it had to be a crew member. But don't forget, he announced that he was going to be in Tampa for the weekend on his Instagram page. The full address, the time, all of that was on social media, extending invites to the random public. So no dude is going to openly DM him and just show his face through his own personal page. But sending any girl to the event is easier. Even if she didn't really know what the guy was up to, if she didn't want to be a part of that type of nefarious plan and plot, she could have just been put in the middle, just to be put in the middle by happenstance. You never know. People will act like they act, but really want your space, line out their mouth, but they really hate. If somebody from his crew lined him up like this, then that right there is truly prophetic of what he said. Because then it came to fruition down the line, further and further down the timeline. It came to fruition. That is crazy. Because if you lined this man up and you in his entourage, you right there with them, and that's a special type of hate, like for real. So clearly the folks who was determined to take him down was not afraid to take a road trip, y'all. He just happened to be in Tampa. Like he went out in a different city. But from what I've been observing through videos, what I've been observing from just studying him lately, now that everybody's intrigued with his life with him gone, it seemed like he was tired. Like he was tired. Some people even saying that he was ready to go. Some saying look like he gave up. It's like surrender, white flag. Y'all want me, come get me. It has happened before. Don't put that theory away. It's happened before. The young lady who was considered to be like a female serial killer up there in the Chicago area, who was one of the rivals of King Von, the girl that they figured that used to go tit for tat with King Von, and King Von wanted to get like credit for taking her out. She gave herself up, like for real. Like her sister even said she looked at her and it's like she had no soul in her eyes. And the mother said the same thing. It's like they lost their will to be here. And it could possibly be something that could have happened again. Could it be that he was tired of running? Tired of the life? Missing all of those people that he lost? Check out the interview. We're going to put a short clip of an interview he did a few months ago, and it was real disturbing. I'm like, first of all, why are you asking these type of questions about life insurance and dying with a 25, 24-year-old? It got to be more for our younger generation, because these are not kids. These are not young men. 26 is a man. He could have literally been married with a home and children at that age. 26 is 4 years from 30. That's not no young man. A young man is a 16-year-old. It's a teenager, but he's a young man. He's pre-18. So come on now. So that younger generation, oh my gosh, the falling. Consistently, it's a seesaw of retribution over and over again. And it was happening so much that he was apparently walking around functional, but he was grieving and depressed. And you could see it on his face. All of that online addy dropping. It's like he was serving his own self up on a platter. Listen to this interview.
In the event you do pass away, what do you want to be remembered for?
As a funny, good-hearted young man with love his people. I think about death every day. Like, I could die today, I could lose one of my dogs today.
Are you afraid of it? Why not? Some people are.
Like, I done been shot before. So I done seen death a couple times, but no matter who you is, bro, anybody could die. You could die wherever, whenever, however.
When it comes to death, is it something you're financially prepared for?
Yeah, I got life insurance, so I'm gonna be straight.
Some people also have a will.
I don't got that. I got a little money set aside, but I ain't got a will.
You see that he said he thought about it every day. That's a person who's depressed. What you thinking about death every day for? Every day in your 20s, and then you're a whole rapper and you got money. Like, you got money. Why are you thinking about this every day? That means you're depressed. You're functional, but you're a functional depressed person. You carry out your everyday duties. You do what you're supposed to do. You report to the studio. You conduct your interviews. You meet with your lawyers. You meet with, anybody you're supposed to meet with, management. But after you done with them meetings, you go home and wish you was gone. You go home and go into your depression mode, missing the dead homies. So it does take a toll on these young men, and for the women, some of the young girls who in it, it's taking a toll on them. But at some point they get so wrapped up in it, by the time it really starts taking that true toll, it's too late. You can't really get out of it. You done did so much that you're next. Whether you're sad about this life or not, you've done so much that you're next. Period. Dang. And at the end of it all, this guy was telling kids to just get a standard job. Listen to your mama and just get a job. Just get a job. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just get a job. Listen to your mama and just get a job and just live life. Stay out the way. The humbling process ran its full course. And then after that, he left everybody on the planet. It's insane that he passed away on the scene on June 23rd. Even though the party was on the 22nd, just like with Takeoff, this happened after 12 a.m. So it was technically June 23rd. So he passed away. He was from 6 block and he passed away 666. June 6th, the 23rd, 2 times 3, 6. And then 2024, the 2 and the 4, that's 6. Add them up. That's crazy. And then also the 23 again, he rapped about in his diss song, and when he was literally in a graveyard. And whoever did this Spot 'em Got 'em, who is also, Spot 'em Got 'em is in Jacksonville, but whoever did this whole Spot 'em Got 'em on him, wanted him and made sure to carry out the job, because they ate that car up. They ate, and out of all those who was hit that night, they ate him up so bad that he didn't even worry. They didn't even worry about taking him to a medical center. There was no hope because he was the target. So anybody so then for the people who are saying, okay, it had to be somebody in the entourage, he was backdoor, it was from the crew. So the crew member who did it, if it was somebody from the crew, hopefully they was staying far away. Because that's stupid to put yourself, you don't know what them people for to come through with. They could come through like freaking Iraq around here. Come through like World War II. Everybody go. You don't, if you diamond somebody, if you're backdooring somebody and you setting somebody up to catch one to get turned into Swiss cheese that night, nigga, you may be Swiss cheese too. You playing Russian roulette with your own life. Ain't you gonna be on the scene too? Unless you finna go home and make yourself noticeable. Cause what you went home for? You was chilling with everybody. Then when you go home, people getting missing around here off the planet. So if you want to just be undetected and stick around, you may turn into Swiss cheese too. And you too be the quietest person in the church on Saturday morning. Don't put you, they got a t-shirt for you too. That, you run the risk doing that. That's kind of crazy. He was DOA, like, and for him to be DOA, that means they meant business, baby. They ain't even take him to the thing. They ain't even take him to the hospital. This was not going to be no foot hit, butt hit type of job this time. This 6th time would be it. And he, because he said there was 5 attempts on his life, meaning that this was the 6th attempt, and that was, unfortunately for him, they were successful. He was unsuccessful in getting away from them. Crazy work. More 6s. 6 months, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 4 is 6 for the year. He was from 6 block. And this was the 6th attempt on his life. Tons of 6s just floating around. He had the 6 tatted on the throat. Insane. This is also the second 26-year-old rapper to pass for the 6th month of the year, which is June. Not to mention Lil Webby's DJ passed the other day, and then he took himself out and his wife after going off on Webby after the club. Let me know in the comment section if you like a video on that issue. Nobody really talking about that because this has eclipsed that whole issue. This has eclipsed Enchanting. Enchanting was 26. And Foolio had just turned 26. Within so they stuff was what? 2 weeks away from each other. She went 2 Sundays ago. And he went 2 Sundays after her. That's craziness. And the crazy thing is both of them couldn't come to agreement with record labels. She had her run in with 1017, as everybody know now. And then Foolio turned down quality control some years back because he didn't want to be in a position where he would not own his masters. Wow. He was born on June 21st, making him a cross between a Gemini and a Cancer, which means he was super passionate and mouthy, saying whatever came to his mind. Remember, these Tupac, Donald Trump, like I was saying earlier, Kanye West, Azalea Banks, Takeoff, all of them were Geminis. I repeat, he shared the zodiac sign with Donald Trump and Tupac. So that lets you know that he had no verbal filter at all. Kanye West. But did all that hot-headedness like Pac, did that cause their demise? It sounds like it. Takeoff was a Gemini. He was a laid-back one, but that Gemini had no filter either. You remember how he blasted Nicki Minaj on the Breakfast Club after the motorsport song debacle? And then he made that controversial, polarizing comment about Katy Perry's dancers and her fans. And then he blasted the jab that everybody got after C-19. Take was very politically incorrect, and he did not apologize about it. It was just tough cookies for you. Hell, they had to hush him up at Drink Champs. He was about to say too much. Okay? And then, boom, he's assassinated like a month later. Craziness. Foolio was a wild Gemini, He had that wild Gemini mouth mixed with that twin nature. You know, Geminis, they love people. They're social people. And being social, the people that they do have in their circle, you know, they love them real hard. They may never tell you, but they love them hard. So imagine being somebody who love hard. You in their circle. That means somebody take that person out, they taking it to heart. They may not be telling you. They're going to probably take that other twin and show that other twin to the world. And when they go home, that sentimental twin come out. They home torn up at home, outside of the public's viewing in sight. You can see the depression on him. And the thing is, that depression from losing people, not just with him, but with the majority of that generation who's caught up in that life, they are hurt. And you know what? That hurt makes them lash out and want revenge. But that unfortunately keeps that seesaw of retribution going. And the seesaw never loses its momentum and stop, because the seesaw is being fueled by hurt and anger. And then it never loses its momentum. The seesaw just keeps going and going and going. If he was ready to go, that means that soul fire, that fire in his soul as a human, it was out. It went out. And like all manifestations, if you want it, then you'll get it. I was just talking to a commenter the other day on my channel. I told her, watch your mouth. Life and death is in that thing. That tongue is powerful. And you were given that by the Most High, so that you can be a co-creator. And don't blame him for everything, or her. Whatever you subscribe to, don't blame him for everything. Most of the stuff you did with the tongue, you will create your life to be what it is. You will manifest. So don't put everything on God. You a co-creator too. So if his soul fire went out, and if he kept talking like that, hence that interview from earlier, if you want it, then you'll get it. The universe will give it to you. You will manifest what you've been talking about. Power of life and death in the tongue. Shooting videos in graveyards. I remember Takeoff shot a video in a graveyard too. The song was called R.I.P. And then they went at it again. They filmed another song called Deads years later with caskets and everything in the video. My gosh. Even if Foolio was ready to go, he didn't take himself out though. Like literally put one of them things, put a tool to his own head. He ain't do that. He had enough sense not to do that. But he could have been lining himself up because he was tired. We don't know. But the key thing is, he didn't physically take his own self out. So that means he does have murderers out there. Somebody around him could have backstabbed him. Plus, I repeat, he did not jump online and say, hey, we going to be staying at the Holiday Inn, y'all. He didn't do that. He gave information about his earlier spots. And I believe he dropped the addy to the Airbnb early because maybe they never intended to really sleep there. Whether the police came and shut it down or not. How do we know they was going to sleep there? As you done told everybody that you're there, then you're going to lay down and literally go to sleep there. I don't think even the entourage is that stupid. Okay? I don't think they never was going to stay at that Airbnb for the night. It seems like that was just the location for the pool party. Since having a pool party at a hotel, where they truly intended to crash for the night would bring too much attention to it, had a pool party at the Airbnb, and we got the hotels lined up anyway. So, yada, yada, yada. The place where he did intend to sleep was never disclosed to the public. That was confidential. So, that made some of the comments I've been reading kind of weird, but, I'm always in the bushes. And true enough, he did have fans. Okay. So people are grieving. You could read the tone. And just, I like to be respectful. I'm not for to jump on and bash him. Even if he was somebody who totally was just disgusting in his words, dialogue, what he used to say. Just like I said in that Enchanting video, and I'm going to say it again, he done paid the ultimate price. He has, you're alive. He's not. So I'm not saying anything. I don't disrespect the dead because they have paid that price. They have given up the ghost. That's the key thing. They gave up the ghost. Once they gave up the ghost, all debts are paid. That's how I see it. I'm not for to ever sit there and bad. Even though Charleston White is at it again. At it again. Now with this man, calling him black and all type of stuff. I mean, and he's calling him black in a negative way. That, which is disgusting. But he is a disgusting individual. I heard a few hours ago online that the cousins were in the back seat posting online that they were going to the Holiday Inn to crash for the night. No, what the hell? And then also found out online that Jada Youngin and Youngin Ace, both their camps celebrating his death. We saw this coming. We saw it coming because it's a whole seesaw of retribution.